everyone. My name is Tavarish. Actually, that's not my name. My name is Freddie, but you might know me as.
You want to try that again?
Why? No. This is real. This is real life. My name is Freddie Hernandez, and you may know me as Tavarish on the internet. And this is my partner Andrew Howell, my partner in greasy wrench crime. That's okay. That doesn't really sound all that great, but do you have a?
You may know me now if you watched the first couple of episodes.
That's it.
Here I am.
You may know of me if you've seen me recently.
Have you seen this man?
Yes.
Then you know him now, sort of, a little bit.
This is the Wrench Everyday podcast where we talk about cars, wrenching, and basically everything that has to do with four wheels and maybe even something that has less or more.
We haven't covered the 6x6 AMG yet, so.
We're not ever covering that. I just said we are not covering that. Okay? But I was thinking about something today. So a lot of people, wrenching is a lost art form. And even though a lot of people do it by necessity, like they maybe don't know what they're doing, but they don't have enough money or they have too much time and they have to do oil changes. They have to change brakes and stuff like that. But I want to get together a sort of starter kit for the wrencher, that someone that wants to get into cars, somebody that wants to understand how cars work, but maybe is a little too scared.
Gotcha.
So you have been wrenching for a long time. Like you have been wrenching on all your cars, on all your 5 cars, and not consecutively, right? But what's something that you would say every budding wrencher or everybody that wants to learn how cars work, at least a basic level, what do you think they need?
Apart from the obvious basics, a ratchet and a wrench set.
Well, obvious basics is that's great, but like the ratchet is also very important. That's like your lifeline. When you're wrenching.
Yeah.
So
I think first and foremost, even before the tools, you need space to do the thing.
Yeah. So that is number one. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
That is,
right.
Man. So when I lived in St. Augustine, I lived in like a condominium.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow us to work on our cars in the parking lot.
Okay.
So, and I've mentioned him before, my buddy Coulter. What's up, man? He helped me, lent me his tools, lent me his driveway, some jacks, jack stands, ramps, that sort of thing. And that's really where I got my I guess true start into wrenching.
So instead of having a space to do it, you need to have a friend that has a space to do it. So you have to,
someone you're going to take advantage of. That's absolutely
okay.
true.
So you have to exploit your relationships with the people around you to maybe hey dude, I saw your mom's driveway is pretty empty. I gotta do a clutch in my Civic. Why not?
Yo, is your driveway like level? Because like you have jack stands and a jack, right?
Can I borrow your dad's tools for like 3 months? Yeah. So you definitely need space.
Yes.
Preferably a garage, but a carport, driveway. I did a lot of work in my parents' driveway when I was living with them in New Jersey, and it got cold, it got rainy. People would look. This is the front yard. We didn't have a big front yard, so that I'd get a lot of looky-loos, and I'd get a lot of people saying, "Hey, I really like that car, man. It's I really had one. I had one like that when I was a kid, and blah blah. Can I have $1? Like that sort of thing."
Sir, you're too old to have had a Maxima when you were a kid.
Yeah, well, exactly. But you definitely need a space to work.
One thing that I really hate is when I'm doing anything to my car, especially washing it, is when someone comes by, "Hey, you do mine next?" No, go away.
Well, I think that's the equivalent of that Simpsons bit where they're at the car show and the pretty girl is standing by the car and guys are just coming up to her. "Do you come with the car?" And she's like, "Oh, you." And then the next guy comes, "Do you come with a car?" And she's like, "Oh, you." Like exactly the same thing. It just keeps going and going. They have the same line. All right. So on top of having a space to do it, I think it's been talked about before and kind of joked around by a lot of people that wrench, like, oh, you have to have safety third. I am extremely paranoid about safety.
Really?
Certain things. So
Okay.
my hand is all screwed up, so I'm not too paranoid on safety. But jack stands and like a good jack and a good jack stands, you can actually get them from Harbor Freight. They're decent enough, and something to hold the weight of the car because. Man, like if you ever go on the deep web and watch jack stands fail,
Yeah, it's terrifying.
that will ruin your week.
Ruin.
Well, I mean, if it falls on you, it won't matter.
More than just a weekend.
It will not matter. But you absolutely need some safety equipment. I'm not the guy who needs NC safety goggles to open up
Right.
the can of RTV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But definitely jack and jack stands. So that is worth its weight in gold. Don't ever use a scissor jack for car work.
Yeah.
The scissor jack that comes with your car. That is.
no.
I mean, if you have one in your car right now, you might be able to change a tire, maybe. But the second you put anything underneath the car of your own body, that's you're asking for that to just be lopped off or just crushed.
Yes, you are.
So on top of safety, I think you probably need power tools. I think. Do you think that that's a necessity for starting ranch? Or, what? Now,
for me, when I started buying, drills and impact wrenches and that sort of stuff, I felt like I was cheating. I felt like I was using a cheat code.
I had that exact same feeling.
Yeah.
When I got an air compressor at my parents' house, I just got like this cheap air compressor for $100 off Craigslist.
Yeah.
It was the loudest thing in the world.
Yep.
It made so much racket. It would wake up the neighbors. But you start zipping those, it's just zipping off all those really hard axle nuts and lug bolts and whatever. And you do feel like you're cheating. Like I feel like I should be putting more effort into
this.
this.
Is too good for me. Like these tools are too nice to be working on this car.
Do you think that it's necessary for a starting, car enthusiast wrencher to have that? Is it a rite of passage?
I don't know. I guess it depends on. I mean, there are so many variables.
Okay.
If you're working on a car that has a lot of, like an older car, or maybe you're up north and you have road salt or whatever. If you're working on a lot of cars that have rusted on nuts and bolts and stuff, I think that power tools, that would be an advantage.
Sure. So in the north, you might want to start thinking about maybe a cordless impact gun. I have a Ryobi one, and actually the Harbor Freight one is really good.
I have a Cobalt.
Yeah.
And that thing has like 600 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, it's like a Tesla. Well, it's basically a Tesla. There we go. Just put tires on it, and that's it.
It's a handheld Tesla.
Yeah.
Ludicrous
Shoot
mode.
it into space. Yeah. So power tools, while I'd say that they're very useful, I'm not sure that they're necessary. I'm going to roll that back a little bit. So what I think is necessary is a good socket set.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Don't get the really cheap socket sets that you get at like Pep Boys or wherever. Like I had my very first socket set that I did any major work on. I did a 5-speed manual swap on my Maxima by myself. I had no idea what I was doing. I just used some internet instructions that had like 3 pictures in them, and they were not very good instructions.
It's like, it reminds me of that picture of how to draw an owl, draw 2 circles, and then draw the rest of the owl. First, you take off the transmission. Then you just put the other one on. And there you go. Job done.
You park the car, you take it out. Yeah.
You put it in, you leave, and you're
done.
You're good to go.
Yeah. So I basically did the entire job with a $30 set of performance tools, in air quotes here, from Pep Boys. It was a huge 150-piece set for like $30, and it was the cheapest of the cheap. Half of them broke just pretty much immediately, but I got it done. I ended up having to borrow some tools from my friend's dad. Again, the friend thing is just it pays dividends if you have a good social circle. For those of you who are hermits, kind of like I am right now.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, we have each other.
Babe.
Cut. Yeah, so get a good set of tools. I would Harbor Freight is really good at this sort of stuff now.
Harbor Freight, I had never really done a lot of shopping at Harbor Freight until recently. What What a magical place.
It is like it's like a toy store. That excitement that you got when you went to a toy store when you were 8. That's the same excitement you get when you go to Harbor Freight. Like, I didn't know I need this, but now I knew.
It's like they have giant bins of 10 mil sockets.
Yes,
You can just get fistfuls of 10s.
Yes. And you can get color-coded sockets. You can get 12 points. And they're all pretty good.
Yeah, the color-coded sockets are amazing. I think they're called. I think they're Pittsburgh.
Right.
Oh,
well,
man.
I mean, they're definitely not made in Pittsburgh.
Well,
let's be completely honest here.
Pittsburgh, China.
Yeah, exactly.
But those are fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're good, and they'll be good enough. Obviously, if you're going to be going to any sort of professional mechanic shop, like you're going to be working, you definitely don't want to get those because with abuse and whatever, they'll break. You want something a little more.
Plus, you're showing up to a professional shop with rainbow-colored sockets. It's like showing up to art class with a box of crayons.
Listen, if the art class is just about crayon paintings, I don't know, you don't paint with crayons, but crayon artistry, then I think it's fine. I mean, I don't care about the color coding, but it's just the type of metal that they use and whatever.
It strips easily. And
so you're going to want to get something that can take the torture. But for a home wrencher, for a DIYer, that is just perfect. The thing I wouldn't trust Harbor Freight with is stuff with a lot of moving parts, stuff that's really, really precise.
Mm-hmm.
Like the torque wrenches are generally fine, but they need to be calibrated. Mm-hmm. So take that. Like I wouldn't do anything with Harbor Freight torque wrenches on stuff like rod bolts and
rebuilding a motor. Yeah.
Rebuilding a motor, I probably wouldn't use that. But if it's just torquing your wheel studs or something, that's fine.
Or your struts.
Because that's good enough. Like you can get a feel for 80 foot-pounds, like 80 or 85, like that. You're fine there. So Harbor Freight is really good. You can save a lot of money. By the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Harbor Freight, even though if Harbor Freight wants to get in on this great deal, then you know where to reach me. So
how great would that be?
That would be great. They retweeted me a few times.
Really?
Yeah. They're really good on Twitter, actually.
Huh.
Yeah. They retweeted me because I posted a picture of a Tesla in front of Harbor Freight because I rented one with Turo.
Right.
This is just a crazy product placement today. And they retweeted me, and I also posted a bunch of stuff with my Aston Martin and just kind of interesting cars in front of Harbor Freight. Like, I'm doing a Harbor Freight run in my exotic today. So
all of a sudden you're a Disney character.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh. Oh, yuck. Yeah. So
Goofy's gonna hook you up.
This is Florida humor, everybody. So Harbor Freight is a very good resource to have if you are a budding wrencher. You want to know how your car runs and works. You want to take it apart, and you don't want to spend a ton of money on tools. Now, as far as other tools, you want to get a good screwdriver set. I'd probably go to a Sears. Actually, is Sears still around? Did they close them all down?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
It's been so long since I've been to Sears. I've only gone to Harbor Freight. It's like, oh, hey, let's go to Radio Shack. And you realize like most of them like are closed. Like, oh, crap. That's because I've shopped on Amazon for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's something about going and physically buying tools.
Of course. Yeah. You want a tactile feel. And
and you walk out with the tools in your hand and like the chest hair.
Yeah. It just comes out of your shirt a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always good. But you want a good set of screwdrivers. And you always want to get more screwdrivers than you need.
Yes, because they will disappear.
They'll disappear and they'll also break because as a budding wrencher, you will not use them in the intended fashion. Mm-hmm. You're going to use them as pry bars.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to use them as... let's things to open boxes. Mm-hmm. You're going to use them to.
I most recently used a Phillips head to punch holes in my wheel well liner to install my mud flaps.
Exactly. So that's those are the kinds of abuses that these things are going to go through. So get a good set of those.
And on top of screwdrivers, while we're on that subject, make sure you get a comprehensive set of Torx drivers and Allen head, either drivers or Allen wrenches, the little L-shaped.
And I'll go one further. Now we're getting pretty extensive here. So there's like the DIY kit is like 300 parts long.
It's like, whatever.
Well, step number 1 is get every socket known to man. Step number 2 is do countless research. The Torx drivers, so they come in different. There's regular Torx, which is like it's like a star bit. Sometimes they call them star bits.
6-point stars.
6-point stars. Then there's a tamper-proof Torx.
Yes, the security Torx with the little
there's a little
dimple.
hole in the middle. So that's for airbags, stuff like that. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of tamper-proof Torx there.
Also very useful for dismantling Xbox One controllers, as I found out recently.
Okay, those are probably precision Torx too. They're probably really, really small, no?
Yes, incredibly small, but fortunately enough, I have just the right tools to do the thing.
Did you get it at Harbor Freight?
I did not.
I should have said you did. We
I
got
did.
that Harbor Freight sponsorship.
I got it at Harbor Freight.
We can
Actually, you know what? I don't know where it was where it was getted
where was getting.
because I got it as a birthday present.
Yeah, you gotta go and get that getting. So so yeah, Torx are always good. And the thing about it is you don't need this entire catalog of tools. This is a lot.
Right,
it can get
not right off the
no,
bat.
not right off the bat.
Right.
So let's say if you're a Honda guy, you know, and we're both Honda guys. We're huge into Hondas, right? Am I right? Right? VTEC? Yeah? Yeah. It's like waiting for a bad okay. Yeah. So if you're a Honda guy or a Toyota guy or whatever, you're probably not going to need a lot of Torx. You're probably just going to be fine with, the 10s, the 12s, 14s, 17s, 19s. If you are a German car owner, then you will need likely an 8, 10, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, and 22. So
Germans like to be very,
there we go. That's exactly what Germans want to be like.
they want to use all sorts of nuts and bolts.
Yes, nuts and bolts. Yes.
Nuts and bolts.
Here we have the nuts, and here we have the bolts. Yeah.
You never stole the nuts with the bolts.
No.
And you never stole the bolts with the nuts.
No. I went to Leipzig to the Porsche factory, and they had a bunch of really German guys because it's Germany.
Yes.
But there's like the most pedantic people.
Yes.
In the world.
I don't know what that means.
They're very involved in what they do. They're very detail oriented. Right. So those people, they're like putting together a Macan, and you can tell that like every millimeter that they step and do everything, like they're on autopilot. Like they're probably thinking, hills are alive with the sound of music in their head. I believe that's the only thing I know about Germans. Please don't read anything into that. I've seen the Sound of Music. I know what's going on.
It's probably Rammstein.
It's okay. So yeah, Du Hast is going off in their heads while they're doing all this stuff, and yeah, it's incredibly precise. And I can imagine just kind of GM or like FCA. They're just a bunch of hammers. Like, well, it's fine. It only has a few dents on it.
Some Bud Light cans on the floor.
Uh-huh.
Everyone's wearing plaid and
All
overalls.
right, it's break time. Crunch. Yeah. So
There's a McDonald's built into the factory.
right. So getting back to what we were talking about, if you have a German car, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Audi, you're going to need those metric, but you're also likely going to need the Torx.
Yes.
Because Germans love to use Torx, and oddly enough, Americans like to use Torx.
Yeah, I found that out when I had my PT Cruiser.
Yeah, the PT Cruiser. So Chrysler is the bastard child of fasteners because, especially Jeeps in general, they use both SAE, which makes no sense. I have no idea how SAE works. It's like this weird fraction system, it's a Dewey Decimal System for tools. And it also uses metric, uses weird sizes in metric, and they use Torx. So it really makes no sense.
Yeah, but then on that same note, does buying a Jeep make sense?
Buying a Jeep always makes sense. Oh, what? No. Come on. No,
Why
no.
have a Jeep when you can have like a 4Runner
A
or
4Runner?
a Tacoma
Because it's not a Jeep.
or an FJ Cruiser?
Sure. I mean, why go to McDonald's when you can have, a Five Guys? Like, because the Jeep is the quintessential off-road. It's trail rated, man. Come on.
Yeah, trail rated by whom? Jeep.
By Jeep. Yes.
Yeah.
It's trail rated, though. It's rated for the trail.
Jeep makes the best Jeeps in the whole world,
That's right.
except for when it's a Toyota.
Well, I mean, listen, Toyotas aren't trail rated now, are they?
I mean,
They're
all-
not.
They're also not Jeeps.
Okay, exactly. But Jeeps are great cars. So I've always wanted an XJ, like a good XJ, which is the not the Grand Cherokee, the Cherokee Sport. It was a Cherokee, and they had Sport and Sport Limited, but it was a 90s one. And oddly enough, that is the best-selling Jeep of all time.
I almost got one as my first car.
It's a good car. Has a few Achilles heels. Has some engine overheating issues sometimes. Had some head gasket issues sometimes. But if you want a off-road rig for like no money, that is the perfect car.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's no space inside it though.
No.
It's crazy cramped. Like
Yes.
it has 4 doors, but you can't fit 4 adults in that car is not a good fit.
No, it's not.
So a Jeep is a great car. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just I almost can't believe you said that. Okay. Anyway, so Jeeps use weird sizes. Also, if you have a German car, just kind of going back to it.
Okay.
You need something called e-torques. So they're inverted torques.
Yes, yeah, those are really fun.
Yeah, those are fun. But fun fact, you can hack basically just put a size a little bit larger of just a regular hex
socket.
Yeah, a hex like a regular 6-sided socket.
It's still a 6.
You hammer it on there and it's fine. So let's say an E10 Torx, E10 inverted Torx would be probably like a 12 millimeter, and you can kind of like screw it on there.
Just don't let the Germans see you do that.
Yeah, don't let them see you do that, and also don't tighten it down a lot because you will strip it.
Yeah, you'll break those splines on the torque for
Right.
sure.
So that's what you'll need on top of sockets. What else do you think?
Something that I only recently grew to appreciate. Gojo.
Gojo is great.
Gojo is amazing.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, Gojo is a type of hand soap that has pumice. Pumice?
Yes.
Pume ice?
Pum ice.
Pumice?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's soap with rocks in it. And it takes off anything off of your
hands. And you don't even need water
skin.
for it. You don't even need water. You just
I prefer to use it with water, but you don't need water.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you don't need. You could. It's optional. Water optional.
Yes.
So if you don't have a sink anywhere, you just kind of clean your hands.
And then spit on them.
Yeah, you can then spit on them. You could always sort of do that if you want.
I guess.
So Gojo has there's Fast Orange. There's like a bunch of different ones, and you definitely need cleaning supplies. So
yes.
Getting any sort of wrenching done is very dirty.
It is.
So if you do an oil change and you screw up, as people are wont to do from time to time,
yes,
it's good to have some shop towels around. It's good to have a tarp. Tarps are real cheap insurance against all that stuff.
Fam, can I just tell you, tarps are lit.
Yeah, tarps are lit.
So lit.
AF.
Yeah, that's right, fam.
Yeah. So get a tarp. They're probably $3 at Harbor Freight.
You know what? Get 5 tarps.
Get 5 tarps.
Get 9 tarps.
Sleep in your tarp.
Basically just
make a home out of tarps.
It's a tarp.
Yes. It's a tarp. There we go. Yeah, Admiral Akbar says get tarps. Yes. Are you Andrew? Are you a shill for Big Tarp?
Oh, what?
Are you a shill for? You being paid by big tarp manufacturers out there?
You're tearing me a tarp, Lisa.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's enough puns.
Oh, hi, tarp.
I apologize, everybody.
Don't apologize.
I apologize for that profusely.
No.
Okay. So you're gonna want cleaning supplies, tarps. You're gonna want some rags, general rags. The thing about rags is that
I prefer Admiral Rags. He's a higher rank.
Admiral Rags. Yes, exactly.
It's a rag. Sorry. I will apologize for that one.
Okay. So the thing that I do is I don't throw out my rags right away because there's multiple uses.
Oh, yeah. You use them until they just don't absorb anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have rags that are basically, you can have old shirts.
Yep.
I just have like a big bucket of rags. And then
Bucket O rags?
Yeah, bucket O rags. And that's really cheap insurance against like spills, and you just plop them down. And
that also means you have to add buckets to the list then.
Who doesn't have a bucket? Okay, if you don't have a bucket, if you're one of the lucky people out there in America that don't own a bucket, then buy a bucket. They're like $5.
Come on, man. Get a bucket.
Okay, so now we have a list that's quite long, but you will be safe. You will be clean. You will have all your tools that, mostly all the tools that you need, other than specialty stuff that people need for cars.
Yep. And I found that my collection, my various assortment of tools has grown and evolved with the cars that I've owned and the particular jobs that I've needed to do. So
that's the best, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
I have so many different kinds of spark sockets now.
oh yeah,
spark plugs.
isn't it the best when you have when you look at your tools and you're like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, these are I can do so much now.
I have a couple of friends that have Mini Coopers, and they're like, "Oh, what I need to do? Like, I have the tool for that."
Well, excuse me, I'm the man.
Yes, yes, I have the 27mm socket for your oil change that you need, son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, here's another pro tip. If you need any specialty tool, I suggest don't rent it, but buy it, because you never know when it's going to be needed again, unless you're working on somebody else's car.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But if it's your car, just buy it.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm going to counter that, because places like AutoZone and advanced discount auto advanced parts.
Yes.
They don't charge you anything. They put a $60 hold or whatever, and then you return the part and it's free.
Sure. But you often see that if you order something from Amazon, they're better quality than what you get at the Advanced AutoZone stuff. And you have the tool for whenever you need it. So let's say you have a caliper tool, because a lot of people do brakes and they go, oh, I'll just rent the tool. And then this is a tool that's been used like literally, thousands of times. Sometimes the threads are stripped. You don't know who's using them. They're using them improperly. Just buy that tool. It'll be, $25, $30. It's not that expensive. You can still get the Chinese made ones, but it'll be good and it'll be yours. So you don't have to go to the store. It saves you a trip. I think buying those things, obviously there are tools that are like seriously specialty tools that are many, many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Yes.
But and if that's the case, then you could probably rent them. Like there's a lot of services that rent out stuff like that. But if it's something like a wheel bearing press or a pulley puller, it's best just to get those tools, just to have them.
Yeah, because
you never know when you're gonna.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly. So we have covered the gamut, so to speak. And if you get all of this, you'll have a drained bank account, but you'll have a bunch of tools, and you'll have hopefully a want to wrench on your own car. Please don't put this on credit. Don't don't have a monthly payment because of us. But I think that if you want to learn how your car works, the best way is to start taking stuff apart little by little. Try not to start with the engine. Try not to start with things that make the car go. But if you want to, first learn how an internal combustion engine works, then start saying, oh, maybe I can change the spark plugs. This is how a spark plug works. Here's the cathodes, here's the anode. You can see increases in performance by doing little things, air filter change.
Basic tune-up stuff. Absolutely.
Basic tune-up stuff.
Which I think we'll be covering here in the near future.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I think there's a sense of satisfaction that people just
immense.
Yeah, people just don't get anymore.
It's like when you make your own meal.
It's exactly. So sometimes when you make your own meal, it sucks. It's
right.
It's garbage and it's like me. Here's a quick aside. I just started this keto diet, and Andrew's been on it for a while, and he kind of got me into it. So I'm doing this keto diet, and you can eat like fatty foods, but you just can't have sugar or bread. So
carbs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And my wife usually makes me breakfast because I'm a giant man child. But she was out for the morning for some reason, and I decided to make breakfast for myself. I'm like, oh, there's eggs and there's whatever. I put a little bit of like what I thought was olive oil on the pan. Put the olive oil on the pan. Put some prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
Yeah. I put the mortadella. Yeah. I put some of that on the pan. I just kind of scrambled it up and I fried it up, and then I take a bite, and I'm like, this is the sweetest egg I've ever tasted. I'm like, why is this so crazy sweet?
Wait, let me guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
It wasn't olive oil.
It was not olive oil.
It was pancake syrup.
It was not pancake syrup.
Oh.
It was like agave honey that looked like it came in a bottle that looked like olive oil, like the same screw top and everything.
Yeah.
But it was just like agave sweetener or something.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like some natural junk. And I put it in. I'm like, well, I just ruined my eggs. Like, and so that's sometimes wrenching is like that. So, sometimes you're like, all right, this is going to be great. It looks great. Everything looks great. Turn on the car. Oh, crap. I forgot that one thing.
Yeah, I read a post recently on the Mini Cooper Facebook group. Somebody was meaning to change their engine oil and ended up draining their transmission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me, well, it looks like our thing has been stopped automatically. I don't know what's wrong with our camera.
We'll research that. But this is a podcast. No one's going to stare at us talking anyway.
Yes. So,
I mean, you don't have to stare at this golden velvety voice. You can just listen.
Can you say Kraft macaroni and cheese? What was that? What was the line from that? The man with the golden voice. It's like a Kraft macaroni and cheese. You know you love it. Something like that.
I can try. I'll try. Kraft macaroni and cheese. You know you love it.
Dude, you could be him. Like, you're the guy. You're the guy. Yeah. So hold on. Let me get this on the way. The stupid camera thing. So it records for like half an hour, I believe. There we go. So we'll figure this out.
We will figure this out.
We'll figure this out. Figure this out. We will. Young Padawan. So, having said that, I think we covered the why, the how, and the where. I mean, we can go to any hardware store, and Harbor Freight is a good, really good resource. I mean, I wish that resource was around when I was starting out. I only had Sears and kind of friends' houses. But now Harbor Freight is just super cheap.
It's really taken off. It's for a good reason, too.
You're changing the game, baby.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. So, So that's how people get started.
Yeah.
With the wrenching.
And something that I thought of also, going back to what we first spoke about with having space. When I lived in Jacksonville, there was a community garage.
Oh.
Basically, it was just a giant space with lifts that you could just roll up and use to work on your car.
That is
Amazing. Check around wherever you live.
Yeah.
Get on the internet, do a Google, and see if that's a thing where you live. And if it isn't, then that's a pretty good business opportunity.
So, fun fact and a quick aside. I had that idea to do in New Jersey a long, long time ago when I was figuring out how I could make money and not live with my parents anymore. So, some of you may know that I started this channel under the kind of company name APIDA Online. So APIDA Online was APIDA, that was Automotive Performance Index Database and Answers. It didn't really mean anything, but I wanted it to be a knowledge hub of just everything cars. Like, let's say you go on the site, the imaginary site that I had in my head, and you click a car, and then it just tells you here's the common issues, and here's the, like, let's say a Wikipedia page, and here's some really good articles about how to change this and that and whatever, how-tos.
I could have used this theoretical website when I owned the Mini Cooper.
Exactly.
When I was doing all those repairs.
Well, actually, I mean, if you want to work on it, I'd love to make that wrench every day. But that is neither here nor there. You haven't heard it. You haven't heard any sort of promise, but I do want to do that.
Okay, really badly. I don't know anything about like website stuff, but I'll help in any way that I can.
Okay. So, right. So what the hell was I talking about? So, when I was doing APIDA Online, it was before APIDA was online. I called it APIDA Mobile Mods, and APIDA Mobile Mods was just I wanted to buy a van, outfit it with wrenching stuff, with
nice
tools and whatever. Go to people and do maintenance and modifications and
Like a house call mechanic.
Exactly,
Nice.
house call mechanic. The problem with that is in New Jersey, it's a very, very heavily. There's a lot of liability involved. Okay, so that was the issue with that, and also just to get started, you need first a van. You need to have liability insurance. You need to have a lot of tools. Then you need to have a clientele, and then hopefully you don't get sued because you're doing basically mechanic work and you're doing oil changes in what's a parking lot and it's not zoned for that sort of stuff. It was a total nightmare. So I decided just to do something online because when you're online, you're not making a mess with Mother Nature. But I think as the next idea was a community garage where I could just buy a garage and then just rent out bays. And then you can have stuff like there's a rent-a-mechanic where you can ask them for help. They can do work for you at a rate. And if you just want to rent a bay and you could just do your own suspension or do your own handiwork, that could be an option. I think they have them. They definitely have them here in Florida.
Yeah, like I said, there was one up in Jacksonville. I've actually.
I think there might be one in Orlando as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know they're all over the country. They're in different capacities, and I know like technically freer states have them. Out in the Midwest, they're pretty common. Up in the population dense states, New York and New Jersey, not too many. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen them.
Yeah.
And it's just because of that liability thing. So if you can get around that, very good business model. Very good business model. Well, maybe. I don't know. I actually haven't done the numbers, so it'd be useful to guys like us, but I don't know if you'd actually make any money. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a business guy. So yeah, I think have we covered everything? Unless you want to add something to our wrenching necessities list.
I think that's the basics. I think we've got that even more than just covered. I think we did a pretty good job.
Okay, so if you listen to the podcast, you will know the things you need to have the right tool for the job. You will be safe. You will be clean, relatively, and you will be happy at the end because you will have done stuff with your car and learned along the way.
You'll master your own machine.
Oh yes, and I mean that's just the best.
Yes.
So, all right. So I think it's time to bring it home. If you'd like to contact us, if you'd like to contact me in particular, you can contact me at The Real Tavarish. That's Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/AskTavarish, and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. I do read every single one, even though I might not reply right away. So, you might be talking at a wall, but you're not because I'm listening. I truly enjoy every single comment, even the really weird ones. You guys know who you are. But where can we find Andrew?
If for some reason you want to talk to me, you can get at me on Twitter at 1565. That's the word 15, the number 65, or on Instagram, which is Heavy Metal FL, all one word.
Awesome. So, having said that, this is me, Tavarish, for Andrew Howell, saying wrench every day.